What's up, Red Ragers? How's it going? I'm back. Today we're going to do another Dogcraft video. I know, the first one in like a month or two. And I also have a new skin now. I thought it was a little bit too basic to have just a regular bear skin. But I just tinted it all red, and I think it looks pretty good. So today, Red Ragers, we are going to be doing a complete, the whole thing, tour of the Hunger Games arena. Started with the space or moon section, whatever you want to call it, which is just a pretty barren area with lots of verticality to it, and it also has a little buff called jump boost to make it feel like it's low gravity. Entering into the space-based arena, you have a void floor, which is filled with stars and sea lanterns, and it's just got a little bit of the fog texture, not really though. And that's to sort of make it feel like it's actually in outer space rather than it just kind of being connected with everything else. It wouldn't really feel like it's separated at all or outer space like at all. Next we have the Mars rover. We also have these little moon spike type rocks things everywhere. These are just mainly for hiding spots or cover during the games, and it's also just meant to make it a little bit less flat. Except we have this nice little rocket here. Another build by Monty. We have a couple of these big craters as well, which lead into an underground section that I will show you much later in the video. Then we have a vertical section of the entire map, which is meant to utilize the jump boost, and I think it did that well. We have a few floating asteroids that are kind of just sitting around. Then we have a whole almost parkour section where you have to use to get up to this satellite here. Another build by Monty. And I think that this is just a nice addition. I think that the verticality of this map kind of makes up for the lack of POIs and terrain on the bottom, which I think is necessary, because if it was just without any verticality, this section would be kind of the most boring, and I think it's pretty interesting when you add this extra element into it. Then we have our final point of interest, which is the space base, and this has a nice little redstone door. It would flow better if the server wasn't lagging a little bit. We exit out of the airlock chamber to go up to this lab area where there's lots of little chests and experimentation on a shulker. We also have a greenhouse where the astronauts who are on the moon get their food from. And we also utilize a little bit of the low gravity inside the building as well, having this be only accessible by using jump boost. We also have a couple of bedroom chambers for the astronauts to be able to sleep, and a bit more lab/kitchen area over here. Over here we have a broken down chamber where this used to be an airlocked one, but it actually, as you can see, an asteroid hit it, which made it turned into a open one. Finally, for the space section, we have the UFO built by Nick. Very, very good hiding spot. You can pretty much just camp right here if you need to, and just hit people off, just to get on to the deathmatch round. And that about does it for the space section. This is probably one of the shortest sections that you'll see. A lot of work was put into this one, with the texturing of everything and just making it all into endstone. I guess a lot of work was put into everything for that. But that was just one of my favorite things that we did. That was the first one, the start of the build. We first enter into the Dark Pine Forest, which is a very secluded and dark, lots of cover in the forest. Decent spot to hide, but there are a few different chests scattered around, hidden in here. Also, not a lot of lighting, so it is possible for mobs to spawn, so better be careful if you're exploring that area. Then we have this little swamp house, broken down house, whatever you want to call it. Pretty nice. I think this looks nice in terms of what it was going for. Otherwise, if this was meant to be an actual house, it would not look good at all. Alright, next up we have the actual graveyard section, which looks really nice. We have all sorts of different gravestones, and it's a little bit beaten down, as you can see by some of it being cobblestone. It's not like marble or anything, it's just mostly cobblestone, some cracked stone bricks is too. Over here we have the swamp section, which looks really nice with all the seagrass and not textured, but the seagrass and the dirt on the bottom floor. There's lots of lily pads as well to keep you being able to go there. Well, we have the crypt, the main entrance for the crypt over here. the nice little bridge crossing the couple of rivers that are over here. And a little guardian to stop unwanted visitors from getting in. We have the campground, which is pretty nice. The tent is really big compared to everything else, but I think overall it turned out okay. And we have the whole little, we have a little cabin over here as well, which is nice to have. Pretty decent spot to hide. I think this gives a nice campground feel. And also, if you look over here, we have an outhouse, just in case for those glam campers who don't like actually peeing in the woods. Finally, we have the Hell Chapel, which is the biggest build in this section. It's a giant chapel, and you can even go on top of it. It's a dark chapel, if you will, because, it's the graveyard section. It has to be a little bit spookier, a little bit edgier than the normal, unassuming church. But you can go on top, you can scout things out. This is a pretty good spot to camp and hide if you're trying to get to deathmatch. Next up, and I believe finally for the section, we have the little Hell Chapel courtyard. Nice little spot to sit, enjoy a little bit of nether blocks, and have a little bit of wheat, because, nothing says more Hell Chapel than a bit of a wheat farm over here and some hay bales. I believe it was around this time that we did the cornucopia. And this is completely built by Monty. He did a great job with it. We have all these chests kind of scattered in just the right spots. And we have this little section, which I believe is covered up now, but it's got a lever. It used to be probably around here somewhere, that actually activates these pistons to go up. So usually they'd be down, and then everyone wouldn't be able to get out since it's a 1.5 block jump. And then once we say go, you just push the lever, pistons go up, everyone goes and starts looting the chests that mid. I feel like this is a very nice centerpiece. It's got the enchanting table as well. It's perfect for a nice centerpiece, and I believe, I really like the way that we ended up making the starting sections, because that is pretty dang cool. We have the Badlands, we have the little water feature over here, and a nice little river that kind of snakes through the center of the town. Here is something that nobody ended up doing in the entire event, but you were supposed to, there was a nice archery range right here, you're supposed to be able to click the button, hit this, obviously it's hard, you have to click the button, hit it, and you see that? I hit it, and an item pops out here. That's what this was meant to do, but I don't think anybody was able to realize that. We probably should have made more markings that said stuff, but I mean, there was a sign that said collect prize here. There was just no chests over here to incentivize anybody to come over here, but you actually could. You could just, if you had a bow, you could press the button, shoot the target really quickly, didn't matter where, and it would send off a redstone signal that would dispense an item into the chest. Next up, we have the horse stables. I think all the horses have suffocated in walls by now. There used to be a lot of horses in here. We'll go to the courthouse next. A great build by Monty. And this is just a nice courthouse. I mean, it looks like a courthouse. It's got the lecterns and everything. Next up, we have the saloon, which is a great build by Nick. And it's a saloon, all right. It's like a nice little bar. Got paintings everywhere. Nice open roof. Got the chains with the lanterns. Next up, we have one of the bigger parts of the section, if not the biggest part of the section, which is Dundee Station, the train station for this area. We have a couple of guys over here. We have a couple of references to other spots on the map, like Dundee to Hershey Lake, which is in the Candyland, Candy Town. There's Nickton, which is the little gingerbread area in the Candyland section. Nickton to Outer Space, Racine Cemetery to Barrel's Field. A little call out to Barrel there. Yeah, this train station is really nice. You have the bathrooms as well. Don't want to look in there in case anybody's. The bathroom, probably should shut the door. And we have the main train over here as well. Before we show you the main train, I want to check out the main little plaza for it as well, which is really nice. Nice and textured. We got a few armor stands over here as well. Here's a sneaky little chest that nobody saw. I was in charge of restocking this. This chest stayed all 3 rounds in the same exact spot. Nobody saw it. Nobody tried to grab it. And I mean, I guess if you're walking by it, if you're not trying to look for a yellow chest, you wouldn't really notice it. But it was a nice sneaky spot. Good job on Monty for hiding that chest. But that would have been a really nice chest for people to get. We have the main train car with the conductor spot. It's docked right now. I mean, it's not moving, so I think it's fine. The conductor's not here. Next, we have a couple. Basically, all the rest of these are just our passenger cars. Once we're in with the passenger cars, you get a couple of Candyland. You know, as you can see, the border is right there, and it changes immediately to a different track and everything. But once you get there, you get shipments with the cargo cars full of candy. Right over here, we have a shipment of Skittles with a sneaky little chest in here. And over here we have a shipment of Aero Caramel bars, which are commonly found in the UK. While we're actually here, I might as well go over the nice giant candy corn. It's American candy. It's basically just like, I don't know how to describe it. It's hard to describe because I can't think of any sort of other candy that's like similar to candy corn. I would say it depends on the person, but some people really like it, some people really hate it. It's a very common Halloween candy, hence the pumpkins all over and the jack-o'-lanterns all over. Here we have the bank, which is a nice little section. Not really any chests in here since this is one of the last builds that we had to do before we actually launched it. It was like the day before, so all the chests were already placed, so there are no chests in here, sadly. After that, we have the sheriff's office. Another great build by Monty. We have little sheriff's office where he like does his own work, you know. This is where he resides, and then under here we have the little jail for the section, which you can see has been broken out of into the gold mines, which we will get to later. This is where we have the mine shaft, which is a nice little area. There's coal and gold everywhere. There's a couple of steaming type things, which is signify that things are being mined and it's industrial. Have the nice little where the river ends, the lake over here, which is nice. In the middle, we have lots of blast furnaces to have spots to be done stuff with, to smelt everything and, you know, get things from ores into ingots. We have a little mine way, like a little place where the cart goes back up and down to save the labor. Next up, we have the main quarry area, I guess you could call it. Got a nice stairway down. This is where they're digging out a lot of the areas, and it has a nice giant excavator with a little bit of gold being taken out of it as well, and a little bit of gold being kind of scattered around. Cinematic shot of the entire area. I think looks really nice. With the main town. We have over here. Then we have the train station over there. We have a little Nickton over here with lots of little gingerbread houses. Good interiors and everything. Find a sneaky little chest or two on top as well. And these, I think, look really nice. Lots of stuff to have in here. I like how colorful the outside is and how we use like the concrete powder for gumdrops. I think that looks really nice as well. But these buildings are a fun little addition. You know, a nice little gingerbread house is a classic must-have for a Candyland section. And as you can see, there's candy canes kind of scattered around through this whole area. And the actual floor is a cake top. Or a cupcake top, I guess, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so there's supposed to be the frosting is like the snow blocks, and then sprinkles is the colored wool carpets. Next up, we have the cotton candy forest, which is a decent place if you want to hide out somewhere. You just go like right here, and you wouldn't really be able to be seen by a lot of people. Obviously, I have the elytra on. But this is a nice build. I think the ambiance of this place is really nice. I like how colorful and it just looks like a nice, like, happy place to live, if there was a house here or something. Next up in this section, we have the Toblerone Cafe, which I built, the entire thing, the Toblerone and everything. And you have, one thing I like about this is the little chocolate-themed drinks. Next up, in the third part of the Candyland section, we have the Chocolate Lake, also known as Hershey Lake. The coast of it is covered in little bits of chocolate, as you can see, and then the actual lake part is right here. And we even have the Hershey Kiss. Which is and a chocolate geyser as well. Hershey Kiss, which is a very famous brand of very famous like chocolate treat in America, and we just have a nice random little geyser there as well. we're gonna start out in the space section and go around in a circle. We have the space underground section, which goes between the two craters at first. That goes to the second crater right there, and then it also goes to the two different sections. Next up, we have the Western Gold Mine. A lot less texture. It's got a couple pieces of gold everywhere. Got little mine shaft type overarches. Got a few mine carts that are supposed to be moving. And finally, we have the Cookie Caves, which took a pretty long time to do, but it just looks like chocolate chip cookies, and I think that looks pretty nice. Finally, we have the lobby and Coliseum area. This is the last little bit of the event. Nice little main section. We have rules over here. It's a long rule book, but it's necessary. And a little overview book, or rules, I don't know which, but they're there. Next up, we have a bed section, because in every event I've been to on the server, there's always been way too many phantoms. So, one thing that we thought of as soon as we started making the event back in like late June is that we needed to have a bed section in the lobby, because that was one of the most frustrating things, is all the phantoms that happened. So that was nice. Next up, we have a Hole of Death. So this is a way, if you have no armor on, you can jump down there and die to get rid of your levels, because as going into the Hunger Games, you were not allowed to have any levels because there was enchanting available. I'd say this is a pretty extensive parkour section. And it was meant for people to be less distracted in between rounds, so that they could, work on the parkour. What ended up happening is people would just gather in that hot tub and just punch each other around, which, anything to keep them entertained. Following over here, we have the entrance to the Coliseum, and we have the Yellow 21 area, which JMS has cleaned up now. And then we have the podiums. Basically, what happens in the Coliseum is that there's a nice area, there's a little bit of cover, but the incentive is for people to be able to deathmatch. And that is about it for the entire Hunger Games arena. A lot more prep went into this. You can see up here, we have the entire Coliseum area. And just the entire Hunger Games area in general. Right like that. Wow. Thank you guys for watching. This is the Hunger Games tour. I hope you guys liked it. And if we ever use this map again for a future Hunger Games event in a couple of months, you should watch this video, because it'll give you some tips and tricks of places to hide. Thanks for watching. See you later, Red Ragers. Bye.